Commission meeting for Monday, August 16th, 2021 to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez. Present. Commissioner King. Here. Commissioner McCool. Here. Commissioner Ramos.
Present.
Commissioner Sosa.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bradford. Here. Mayor Hertzberg.
Here. First of all, before we begin and turn the meeting over to Commissioner Sosa for the invocation and the pledge, I would like to thank my fellow commissioners and staff for allowing me to be here on Zoom tonight. Just a quick explanation. Unfortunately, my mother had a medical situation come up that I cannot be there tonight and leave her for an extended period of time today. So I just wanted to relay that, and after we do the invocation and the pledge, I'm going to ask for a point of privilege regarding an item on the agenda. So Commissioner Sosa, it's all yours.
Will you please rise as we welcome Pastor Jake Samples from Grace Baptist Church of DeBerry for the invocation.
Let's pray. Our Father, we thank Thee for this privilege that we can come before Thy throne of grace and make intercession for this meeting tonight. We thank You for the blood of Christ, which gives us this privilege to access Thee. Lord, I want to pray for this group of folks tonight. Lord, it's a great group of people for which You love, but Lord, they represent a multitude that You love. And so, Lord, I pray for wisdom in this meeting. I pray for Your presence to be known. I pray that You'd give us wisdom, Lord, beyond, Lord, what we have. And Lord, I especially want to pray for this mother who was mentioned. Lord, with health concerns, I pray that You'd be with her. I pray that Your healing hand would be upon her. And Lord, I pray that You'd bless the family there. And Lord, we thank You for this nation. We thank You for the liberties, Lord, that You've given us. Lord, we thank You for those in service to this country tonight. Especially want to pray for our military. Pray for wisdom for the leaders of this country. And I also pray for wisdom for those who are governing in this meeting, in this city of Deltona. Lord, we love You and we praise You and we ask for these things, believing in Jesus' name. Amen.
If you will remain standing for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And next we have J.D. Marie. She is a 15-year-old sophomore out of Pine Ridge High School. She'll be singing our national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right. Thank you, J.D. Thank you, Pastor Samples.
Okay, thank you. That was amazing. And before we move on to item number 4, approval of minutes from the agenda, I would like to ask the commission if they would be okay with me moving up item 8A, new business, my appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board. Before we do the presentations, awards, and reports, And then after that, I would hand the meeting over to Vice Mayor Bradford and get off the screen. The reason being, they have to switch the screen for one of the presentations. So if the commission is okay with that, would you let me know if we could move that up?
Does anybody have any problem? Okay, no problem, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to item 4A, approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting for March 15th, 2021 as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved. Moved by Vice Mayor Bradford, seconded by Ramos.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. We're good?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So if we could move up item 8A under new business, that would be consideration of one appointment from Mayor Hertzberg to the Planning and Zoning Board for the remainder of a term to expire March 15th, 2022. My appointment, I would like to appoint Mr. Tom Burbank to the P&Z. And if there would be a motion and a second, if the commission is so inclined to approve that nomination.
Second.
Madam Mayor, approved by Commissioner Ramos, second by Commissioner Sosa.
Okay, then may everyone vote, please? Do we have to do a voice vote, Joyce? Yes. Okay.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Commissioner Sosa?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
And then Mayor Hertzberg.
Yes, so the motion passes 7-0 for Mr. Burbank to be appointed to the P&Z board. I thank you all commissioners for allowing me to do this today, and I really appreciate staff setting this up on short notice. Thank you so much. So I will now hand the meeting over to Vice Mayor Anita Bradford, and then I will be off the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to presentation, awards, and special reports. Tonight, I believe, who's doing the summer intern program? Okay, we have Commissioner Maritza Villa-Vasquez is going to do a certificate of recognition. And this is for a summer intern program. I'm going to let Ms. Vasquez read the recognition.
Hello, everyone. So for the first time this year, the City of Deltona participated in the summer intern program. We have some wonderful students joining us here in the City of Deltona doing some summer work. And this was put together. I was contacted by Ms. Felicia Benzo from the Catalyst program. I met Ms. Felicia when she started this Catalyst program. It's a mentoring program, and I was part of the mentoring program back then. And so she called me and asked me if I can help her put these students here in the City of Deltona so they can get some summer credit. And I reached out to our city manager, Mr. Peters, and he openly, said yes, bring him in. And with the help of our head of Parks and Recs, Ryan, we were able to get these students out here working in different areas of the City of Deltona. We also are going to be asking They also did some summer programs in different areas of the city, but because they are city residents of Deltona, we've decided to give the awards all tonight. So I am going to start with those students who did the summer program here for the City of Deltona in the absence of our Parks and Recs Director, Ryan. So I'm going to call up Angelina Kennard. She's not here. Okay. Taji Williams. Ms. Benzo, would you come up, please? And because of the situation with COVID, we normally have all the commissioners up at the front, but we're just going to do it on the one-to-one, okay? So if you want to take a picture. Travis Jackson. Thank you. And Thomas Belton, Jr. Oh. And then you're also going to take Angelina?
Angelina, yes.
Okay. I am going to call up Rafael Ramirez, who will be representing Halifax, to give out the awards on behalf of Halifax.
It's a pleasure to be here representing Halifax. We are really, really proud of the facility we have built for your residents. This is a really tough time. Not much needs to be said. So much so, our Dr. Miles just texted me he's sick. So it's going to be me making the presentation. But we are eager to continue to serve the community and look forward to being here for many, many years. So in appreciation of the service, can I say hi to Kirsten Jeff Batiste? Did I say it right? No. What's that? Is it somebody else?
No, that's her. That's her.
Oh, sorry. It's a pleasure. All right. Ellis Santos? Not here?
No, he's not here.
Okay. Derek Gomez? There you go. Thank you very much. And Shanae Brown? Not here. Thank you, Commissioner.
Is there anybody here from Advent Health? Representing Advent Health? No. Okay, so I will call out the names for Advent Health. These are the students that did their summer program at Advent Health. Joseph Troche? Joseph Troche. Okay. Is your parents taking a picture? Okay. Marquisia Quarterman. Marquia? Yeah, it's spelled wrong. Okay, we'll get it corrected.
Congratulations.
We'll have a corrected one. Can you contact? We want to thank all these students who participated in this summer program, and want to let you know that this is something the city of Deltona will continue doing every year. Thank you.
Listen, I want to thank the commissioner. I want to thank the parents. I want to thank the wonderful youth that participated in this program. I want to thank Mr. Peters, Mr. Ramirez. I want to thank you as well. I want to thank you, Anita Bradford, as well. If we don't help them make that transition into adulthood, it will not happen. And so that was the purpose of this, to bring them to the place where they're ultimately going to be. And I thank you for your time and the efforts on their behalf. And again, parents, without you, wouldn't have happened at all. And young people, thank you for your attitude, your behavior, and your character. Those are the three things that will continue to bring you to higher heights in your life. All right? Thank you. I want to give you a hug.
I would like us all, honestly, Miss Felicia, you deserve applause as well. You have If anybody knows Felicia Benzo, she is going, she's got her mind set on something, it's going to happen. And, you know, these kids have blossomed and grown, and you're instrumental in moving all this forward. So I thank you as one of our best community leaders in this area. Thank you so much. And our next presentation is going to be, again, we have Rafael Ramirez here. He's going to give us a wonderful presentation on Halifax and the COVID update, I believe.
Yeah. I wish it was better positive news, but our goal was to have Dr. Miles here and give some of these statistics, but I just, he sent me a note that he's sick and he will not leave or get close to anybody. So my guess, hey Al, my guess is that he must be feeling really sick because he loves to do this. But I think in general, everybody knows what's happening with COVID. We are, I guess we're no better, no worse than maybe a couple of weeks ago. So perhaps that's a little bitty of good news. As of Friday, we had 152 patients with COVID in our 3 hospitals. We 83.6 or 84% of them are unvaccinated. A total of 37 of those 152 are in our ICU, which means they're worse. So there is a we hate to say it, but there's a large group in our ICU unit. And then the rest, or 103 of them also are in our regular, what we call med surg rooms, which is typical rooms. There are no maximum care or any higher level of care. And then one thing that it's really kind of really bizarre in this day and age is, you know, our emergency departments in general, they are overwhelmed. Because of COVID, but also because there are other people that are equally sick, and there would be your regular traffic and your EDs. So they're coming in and really in all the hospitals in our county are overwhelming the traffic. We have, we're happy to say we only have 1 pediatric patient, 14-year-old, not in the ICU. So, you know, when you talk about kids, this is different touch and feel. So we're so far, or as of Friday, we only have 1 14-year-old. The average age of our COVID patients is 62 years old. And then we have 26 of those 152 that are in ventilators. A word of what's happening is, you know, hospitals in our area are well equipped. We are, while we are in a dire situation because of the number of patients, we are ready and able to handle, God forbid, more patients. So I guess that's another tip of good news. One of the things that Dr. Miles wanted to talk about is the age is slowing the trend down. We're starting to see, you know, when we started, we were closer to an average of 70 years. You know, we're, you know, lower in the 62, 63 years. The vaccine breakthrough is less than 20%. So it's clearly protective for those with competent immune system against having a severe case of COVID. So part of our message, without entering into a political debate, is, you know, we certainly recommend vaccinations. We have them in our Daytona Hospital. We concentrate our vaccination in the main office just in case something happens, and we have the trauma unit or some of the higher level units in our main hospital. So we're still not seeing significant disease in younger population like elsewhere, so that's another bit of good news. Like all local hospital beds are tight, and we certainly could not have built the Deltona Medical Center of Deltona at a better time, thank God, in that sense. Certainly would like to thank the community for all the support over the last several weeks, because it's been a really, really hard time. You know, the wait is terrible, and we're trying to do the best we can, because we're still caring for patients that need regular emergency care. And those include strokes, chest pains, trauma, emergency pain, surgery, et cetera. So I think that's really some of the statistics. He, of course, would have been a little more medically inclined than me, but I'll take any questions, and then I'll finish with a quick reminder about our Express Care Center.
Thank you. Commissioner McCool?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Rafi, I just want to know if can we get a copy? Can you leave
Sure.
or get a copy of this to the clerk for us?
I will be happy to email it first thing in the morning.
Sure, sure.
Because I don't know how to do it from my phone, and so,
That's
yeah,
fine.
be happy to.
That's fine. Another thing, too, is where are we at, or do you know? If you don't, that's fine, but with our children, you know what I mean? Are you seeing a mean age for children coming in with COVID, or where are we at with that?
I don't want to answer it because I don't want to jinx anything, but
Okay.
we really haven't. We've had some cases.
Right.
Right now we have the 14-year-old. I think we've had 2 or 3 other days, maybe last week or the week before. However, as Dr. Mile points out, we have not seen an incidence of, let's say, under 20 cases all over the place. So,
Well, that's good. You can go out and do the dance now. You know what I'm saying? That we don't talk
Yeah.
about it, right? So that's good.
right.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I hate to say it, but we'll see
Yeah,
what
I know,
happens with
Rocky.
school. So, yep.
Thank you. That's it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
No, ma'am. Commissioner Villa-Vasquez?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to say thank you to your staff for all they do for the patients. We have all our patients in our prayers as well as your staff. So
Yep,
thank you very much.
And that goes to the mayor's mom, too, of course, as the pastor said.
Testing facilities, are you guys still able to do testing, or are you recommending them to go to other locations?
So, Vice Mayor, the answer is yes. We can do testing, but because of the incidents in traffic in the hospitals, we're more not obligated, but we're really stressing first that traffic of patients, because they either have COVID or they have other afflictions, and we got to make sure that we're not mixing 2 things. So even our own employees, the scheduling of testing is second to the patient flow.
Okay. Again, thank you. Thank all your staff. Your first responders, we greatly appreciate them and putting themselves on the line. So thank you very much.
For sure.
Make sure that they all know how much we all up here appreciate
I will
everything that they're doing for the city.
Briefly, the urgent care we used to have is turning into an express care on 2090 Saxon. It opens tomorrow. Things that are not life-threatening, colds, flu, sore throats, ear infections, back pain, nausea, vomiting, things like that, minor burns, stitches. We're happy to take care of that. Many reasons, one being the timing of this opening is critical to alleviate those patients that would have gone to the emergency department. Last, we are not transferring occupational medicine needs to other hospitals. We now have it in our Deltona facility at Saxon. So that's really critical for many of the businesses that are here or are coming as we solicit more. So thank you for your time. And Dr. Miles really sends his regrets, but I hope you understand. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rafael. All right, we're going to move on to ordinances and public hearings. We're going to move to 6A. We have ordinance number 0421. Mr. Paradise, did you want to address this today?
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor, thank you very much. Ordinance 04-2021 is a change to City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 45, dealing with panhandling activities within the city. There's a pretty significant rewrite of the city's panhandling regulations. I'm going to kind of just hit some of the highlights, but basically the updates offer two definitions, one of panhandling and the other of aggressive panhandling. The distinction between the two is basically aggressive panhandling can involve touching and what some could consider harassment. There are several distance requirements articulated in the proposed code that state a 20-foot distance from areas like the entrance and exit to a commercially zoned property or an institutional governmental building. Another distance is 150 feet from a signalized intersection or the distance of a turn lane or a transition zone associated with that intersection. Finally, cannot panhandle within 150 feet of a controlled intersection, an area where there's a stop sign. Public parks, off limits to panhandling. This ordinance and the language there included is modeled after the City of Daytona Beach ordinance, which is considered to be defensible and enforceable. With regard to enforcement, there is an enforcement stated, there's a $500 fine plus potential 60 days imprisonment or a combination thereof. Probably what's going to happen, though, is any panhandling activity that's noticed in the community, either the VSO or the city's code compliance is going to go out there and basically say, hey, look, you know, this is inconsistent with the code. This is what can happen. And we're pretty confident that they're just going to leave the area. City staff is requesting the City Commission adopt Ordinance 04-2021 at first reading and schedule a second and final reading for September 20th, 2021. I'd be happy to field any questions you all may have with regard to this ordinance.
Thank you, Ron. Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I really don't have any questions but comment. I believe definitely patterning this behind Daytona Beach, which seems to be something that our deputies and our sheriff are backing this up, that it seems that it's something that has some teeth and we can definitely enforce. I would like, at this point in time, they make a motion. I hereby move to adopt ordinance number 04-2021, updating City Code of Ordinance, Chapter 45, Panhandling, at first reading and schedule a second and final reading for September 20th, 2021. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of scrivener errors and the like.
Do we have a second to the motion?
Second. But I also have a question, please.
Yes. We have a motion and a second, and then we have Ms. Commissioner Avila-Vasquez.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Ron, how much of this is happening in the city of Deltona? I mean, because I'm going to be honest with you, if I've seen one or two, that's a lot. So I'm just wondering if it's happening in Deltona, what sections of the city of Deltona are these happening?
The complaints that I've heard is at the intersection of Graves and Howland. We've had code compliance, I think, go out there on a number of occasions and, you know, indicate that this is not really appropriate.
Any other commissioners? Okay. Do we have anybody from the public?
Oh, sorry. Jim Cameron, please.
Good evening. I'm Jim Cameron, consultant from Daytona Beach, and I had left a message with some of y'all and spoke with some of you on this tonight. But the reason I wanted to discuss this is that I worked extensively with the attorney that drew up the ordinance in Daytona Beach. And I was with Chamber of Commerce at that time, this previous life or so. And this was something that our Chamber of Commerce had very much weighed in support of. and our business community, they were begging for this type of ordinance, though. And it may not have been, you know, much of a problem at the first and stuff, but it grew and grew and grew, and then it snowballed and all. So it just got to a point where it just plain got out of hand. And so, like I said, they had an attorney that had drawn up this ordinance, though, Michael Kahn, out of Brevard County, and it's a fair ordinance, though. I mean, just because I remember the Daytona Beach ordinance is that you could panhandle, you cannot panhandle here, 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 or here, but you can panhandle in still 97% of the city. You can't, and it doesn't take away the right to panhandle. You can still panhandle, not, you know, not saying anything on that. But like I say, it is a good ordinance, and it has made night and day difference in city of Daytona Beach. I mean, I'd say within the first couple of days right after the ordinance had passed. And now we still have probably, you know, I mean, one or two still out there occasionally, though, but it's not nearly the situation that it was before, though, this ordinance was approved.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion by...
Madam Vice Mayor, do you want me to read the title?
Yes, please.
Okay. And I also want to tell you, when Ron and I worked on doing this draft, and we were very concerned with regards to constitutional issues, and that's why the Daytona Beach ordinance was something that had been proven. And there are a number of panhandling ordinances in the state of Florida, including state statute, that has been determined to be unconstitutional. So we were very careful in trying to craft something that we could both, you know, that the sheriff was comfortable with, and also that we were comfortable with not getting on the wrong side of constitutionality of it.
Right, and I wanted to answer Ms. Commissioner Vasquez's question. It is the corner of Howland Graves. I know we've seen an increase in activity since we've had a lot more traffic there and businesses growing in there, and they're literally standing in the middle of the road. So it's become a point of hazard. So yes, please read me the ordinance.
Thank you. Ordinance number 04-2021, an ordinance of the City of Deltona, Florida, Chapter 45 Panhandling of the Deltona Code of Ordinances, making findings, providing definitions, amending Chapter 45, I missed that, Panhandling of the Deltona Code of Ordinances, making findings, providing definitions, prohibiting certain acts, and providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. May we have the vote, please? Motion passes 6. I know, I saw that, 6-0. Okay, we're going to move to old business, which there is none. New business, we've already addressed on A. And we're going to go to new business B, request for approval of resolution 2021-47. Ron again.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, Madam. Ron Paradise, Deltona Plan Development Services. For the record, resolution number 2021-47 is a request to change the city local housing assistance plan to increase down payment assistance amounts and create a grant opportunity with regard to owner-occupied rehabilitation for extremely low, very low, low and moderate income households, okay? And this involves the city's Strategic Housing Initiatives Program, SHIP, which is administered by the state of Florida. In any event, the intent is to change the down payment assistance amounts for very low low and moderate income households. You'd probably be asking yourself, well, what is classified as a low or very low or moderate income household? For example, if household of 4, extremely low, makes $26,500 a year. Very low, family of 4 or household of 4 makes $32,700 a year. Again, low, family of 4 or household of 4 is $52,300, and moderate for household members is $78,480. With that being said, the reason for this proposed increase in down payment or purchase assistance is in response to a very active and robust real estate market. I think we're all very aware that the prices have been trending upwards and seem to be continuing to do such. The goal is to, or what is being suggested is to raise the amounts for very low income applicants from a down payment assistance amount of $20,000 to $50,000. A low income applicant down payment assistance would change from $15,000 to $40,000. And for a moderate income household, the down payment assistance would change from $10,000 to $25,000. And we've kind of looked at some of the housing trends in the city, looking at everything from taxes and insurance, and we feel that these down payment assistance amounts or these increases will help needy families achieve the dream of home ownership. The other change involves the distribution, if you will, of an outright grant through the owner-occupied repair program, which is a program where the city comes in and helps needy households fix up their homes. This one-time grant would be simply only for roof replacement. We feel that for a composite shingle job with most of the houses in the city of Deltona, $15,000, even at these elevated costs of construction, would be enough to cover that. We are encountering out there as we promote these programs is a lot of people, especially the elderly, are reluctant to encumber their properties with the lien or the soft second mortgage that's associated with these programs. And the purpose of that soft second mortgage is to ensure that there's what is known in housing parlance continued affordability. Just as a point of procedure, if the City Commission does adopt this resolution, these allocations will only be in effect until June of next year, when the city has to do its 3-year update to its LHAP again. This will provide us plenty of time to evaluate the effectiveness of the grant and the increased down payment assistance. Finally, we're thinking or anticipating that the down payment assistance award amount increases, and especially the $15,000 outright grant will help the city meet its state required set-asides to spend a certain percentage of this money on very low and extremely low income applicants. I'd be happy to field any questions y'all may have with regard to this.
Commissioners? Commissioner Sosa?
You answered one for me. Second one, so if somebody received down payment assistance and they're in their house for 2 years and they get foreclosed on, I know that you said that we would recoup that money. Who would we recoup the money from? Would we go after the bank who owns the property, or will the individual be held liable for that?
Typically, we would be in second position of the bank and potentially not see any of that money. and we would not go after the individual. Now, I remember back during the 2000s dealing with short sales, and it kind of evolved that what we did is say, all right, lending institutional X, what haircut are you taking? What loss are you taking? And then we said, you're going to take X percentage of loss, then we'll take X percentage of loss. We'll share in that equally.
How were they very receptive to that, or did they say, no, we're going to take the biggest chunk and that's it?
I don't think they really enjoyed that, but on the other hand, we were able to claw back a small percentage of the money we had invested in these houses that got foreclosed on. It wasn't a lot of money that we got back. We actually had a few people that came down and said, oh, well, I want to do a short sale. It's like, all right, well, you're gonna have to, satisfy some of the city's second mortgage as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else, commissioners? Do we have any speakers? Oh, wait a minute, Ms. McCool? Commissioner McCool?
Sorry about that. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hey, Ron, I just want to go back. How much of the LHAP funds did we use from last year?
I don't know the exact figure. I think we got $600,000 from the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, but don't hold me to that. That number just rings a bell. But lately it's been a pretty healthy sum.
So, but the percentage that we actually used, that we administered, did we administer 100% of those funds, or did we have surplus funds at the?
Sometimes we do have carryovers, but the goal is to administer all of those funds within a year.
Right. Were we successful last year in administering all the funds, or do we have carryover?
I do not remember the exact percentage. We may have had a small carryover, but I'm not sure about that.
I mean, that's where I was getting. We usually administer almost 100% of these funds and without carryover in these programs, so they're successful from what I'm understanding. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Nobody else has any questions? Now, I was under the impression when we had asked about it, because I was thinking there was a substantial amount that was carried over this last year, and I believe when we discussed it, it was said because people were not wanting to go through and have the lien put on the homes, and that's why there was so much of the funds being carried over, if I recall.
Yeah, I do know that we have had challenges here trying to gain acceptance with the owner-occupied rehabilitation, especially with extremely and very low-income applicants.
Okay, if there's no other commissioners, do we have public comment? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I hereby move to approve resolution number 2021-47, a request to amend the 2019-2020, 2020-2021, and 2021-2022 Local Housing Assistance Plan to increase down payment assistance and facilitate an owner-occupied grant award amount of up to and not to exceed $15,000 for extremely low and very low income households for roof replacement only. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of grievance, errors, and the like.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, second by Commissioner King. May we vote? Motion passes 6-0. If I turn the mic on. Next, item C, request for approval to change the code of compliance special magistrate hearing schedule. Mr. Paradise.
I didn't go very far, Vice Mayor. This is a request to move the code compliance special magistrate meeting from its scheduled time of 5:30 p.m. to a start time of 12:30 p.m. The intent is to basically save overtime cost, which are approximately about $5,000 a year, to have code compliance officers explain the notice of violations when they're off their shift. Another goal is to achieve or to engender less reliance on the taxpayer subsidizing the code compliance special magistrate process. If approved tonight, the change will take place for the first meeting in October of this year. The city did go out and look at several other local governments, County of Volusia, Port Orange, Seminole County, and with the exception, I believe, of DeLand, all of these meetings commence in the morning or in the afternoon. I'd be happy to field any questions y'all may have with regard to this request.
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Sosa?
Yeah. Had you looked at maybe doing a hybrid of it? I think 12:30 might impact a lot of people. Have you thought of maybe doing one at 12:30 one month and then 5:30 the following month, just to be able to accommodate everybody?
I do not know if we really looked at that. It becomes difficult to manage. And, you know, with regard to these meeting times, just like the city commissions, it's 6:30 the first and the third Monday, except when there's a holiday like coming up on Labor Day. And we feel that it's best just to have it consistent at one time. So I don't think we really looked at, looking at, staggering or doing a hybrid.
All right, thank you.
No other commissioners?
Madam Chair, if I can also address that.
Yes, ACM.
Kind of alluding to what Ron said, but I think it's important. It's hard enough for us to get the word out on when meetings are, and when you have competing times on different months, it becomes extremely difficult to let the public know, because quite often on these magistrate hearings, it's not just the violator, but it's also the neighbors who have an interest. So keeping it at a consistent time is much better for everybody.
Thank you. Commissioner King?
Thank you. I don't know. I think I have a little bit of a problem with the fact that we want to make everything convenient for the city, but I'm interested in the citizens a little bit more at this point than the city. We want to save $5,000, but we have people that work during the day, and we're asking them now, oh, nope, now you got to come in here at 12:30 in the afternoon, and that means you're going to have to take off of work. It's an inconvenience for them, and it's just another slap in the face. They're already coming before the magistrate, and now we're going to make sure that they don't go get their pay for the day because they're going to have to be here instead of at work. And I think that's pretty poor decision that we're going to make if that's the way we go. DeLand still has theirs in the evening. DeBerry still has theirs in the evening. We are the other city in the southwest Volusia County area. And, I think that it's right to do something right for the citizens. And I think that it's better to leave it the way it is. It's been said from the dais that $20,000 was so insignificant that we shouldn't even put it into an interest-bearing account. But now, all of a sudden, we're wanting to save a quarter of that, only $5,000. If the schedule isn't working for the code enforcement folks, then let's change that schedule. or let's pay them the overtime, if that's the way we're going to do. But I think just to say, you know what, we don't really care about the citizens. We've been kind of saying that for a while, I think. But now we're going to do it again and say, you know what, we don't care if you got a job. We don't care if you're having trouble. You just make sure you're here or else. And I think that it's just one more thing that isn't looking good for the city. I would be opposed to changing the time.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Question, Ron. If the resident gets a citation, do they have to wait till they come to the magistrate to take care of it, or can it be done if they come into compliance?
They have ample time to work with code compliance to bring that property into compliance, usually at minimum a month.
So by the time they get to magistrate, it means they have ignored all the other contacts that the city has made with them.
Yeah, from what I've observed, it's not uncommon for somebody to come in front of the special magistrate and say, yeah, we'll comply, you know, and that's perhaps, you know, they could have arrived at that conclusion with their code compliance officer, you know, helping them through the process.
And how long does the city give them?
At minimum a month.
A month, and they can come right here into the office and take care of it?
Yeah, they can work with the code compliance officer.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Any other questions? Okay, I do have one. The schedules that you guys have provided here with DeLeon, Orange City, Port Orange, Ponce, and all of these individuals, do we just compare them? Did we do an analysis to determine, you know, were they having people show up at the meetings? What was the success rate of the different times? Because we're literally ranging times from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m.
We did not look into their compliance rates in regards to that. We just kind of were interested in learning, well, when do you start? And just went from there.
Thank you. Commissioner Villa-Vasquez?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just have one more question, Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
When someone gets a citation and they can't take care of it immediately, can they contact the city and work out some kind of schedule to take care of it?
We do work with people to come into compliance.
So you do. So it's not like they call and say, I can't take care of this right now, and the city says, sorry, you have to come with it?
Yeah, we do work with people. If it's reasonable, yes, we will entertain that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McCool?
I understand the reasoning behind this, but the optics are crappy, you know, and yeah, somebody's coming in front of the special magistrate, but as somebody that's not been too far removed from having to come in front of the dais or magistrate or anything else like that, it's intimidating, first of all, and I understand that if I violate, I have time to fix it, but it's after work. You know, it might work at another time, but right now when people are trying to work for every dime, that's my philosophical problem with it, is taking time off from work to do this. Yeah, I understand usually if you're going in front of the magistrate that you're in the wrong or you're pleading your case or whatever, but these are extraordinary times. This is not like business as usual. That's my feeling on this. I'm not opposed to us doing this at 12:30. I'm not opposed to saving $5,000, but right now, philosophically, I'm not opposed to spending $5,000 because it's interfering with workflow, especially if somebody's doing shift work, a server, you know, somebody that's doing work like that. You know, I know, yeah, you can trade shifts. We can go back and forth semantics all day long. Yeah, I know that 80% of other municipalities do it during the day, but we've gone a long ways to try to repair our relationship with residents, and I don't think that this is, listen, I don't think that this is a big ask to keep it at 5:30. Pay them overtime. Who doesn't, you know what I mean? $5,000 to me, it's just, my thing is not today. I'm not good with it being 12:30 today. Maybe next year, you know, times are booming, everybody's working, everybody can afford to take time off. But philosophically, I have a problem with, you know, with workday stuff just for right now. That's my thing for right now. I appreciate the sentiment behind it. You know, I appreciate the time and thought that it went into staff and the city manager doing this, but I'm opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Public comment?
Albert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. As a person that's actually gone in front of the magistrate a couple times for stupid reasons, I can honestly say that, you know, the time didn't really matter to me. Even if I'd had taken off work, it would have been my obligation to show up to prove a point. That being said, everybody knows I'm a fiscal conservative also. To squabble over $5,000, and how big of a budget do we have if you consider the enterprise fund? I mean, really? $5,000? You're worried about $5,000, really? It makes me wonder where some of this thought process goes. What I would say, if you want to change to make it convenient for the city, change it to 8 o'clock in the morning. Change it to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Maybe 7 would be better. But you're talking about $5,000 either way. You're talking about code enforcement having to come up here maybe on their time. Oh, that's right, it's not their time. They're getting paid overtime. That's right. So that doesn't even count, does it? Because you work for the city. And if I remember right, you go to a house, you tell them that their numbers on their house are 15/16 of an inch out of whack. And they don't get the fact that if you actually measure the back of those numbers, that it's 6 inches, not, you know, 5 inches and 15/16. That's the kind of code enforcement we've had for 25 years. Oh, that's right, you got a weed in your yard. Oh no, that's a flower garden. No, but it's in your yard, so you have a weed over 12 inches, it's illegal. That's the kind of code enforcement we've had to fight throughout these years. So now you want to actually take the time and inconvenience a citizen from going after work to where he has to take off of work, miss a pay, maybe miss lunch, where otherwise he has to take off a little early, maybe just a little early, to drive from Orlando to here, to be here by 5:30. To look at the magistrate and say, you got a moron for a CE officer complaining about something that really he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. How many cases have I had in front of the magistrate where I've had to say that? Oh, that's right, 4. And all 4 I won. It's amazing. And when I've asked to actually get those cases to where I could print them out and show y'all, oh, we don't have any of those cases because we don't carry cases over 5 years. And yet, when it's convenient for y'all, y'all go back 10 years and find a bad case against somebody. Now, isn't that interesting? But y'all are going to take and squabble over $5,000 to say, well, you got to be here at 12:30. That's even past lunchtime, people. Really? Really?
Thank you, Mr. Bright.
That's it, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Need a motion in a second? You guys have options other than the motion that's listed here. Nobody'd like to make a motion? I'll pass the gavel. Can I pass it to, thank you. I hereby make a motion to decline the time change, and the acting city manager has authority to make correction of scrivener errors and the like.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor to deny. The second was from
Commissioner Sosa.
Commissioner Sosa. Will you allow us to vote, please? Again, motion to deny. Motion to deny wins 6-0.
Thank you. Okay, the next item of business is D. Madam Attorney, are you handling that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a discussion again on the opioid legislation, and there's been a lot of machinations with regards to this case. But anyway, I talked to Skip Fowler about it today, and basically they have another proposed plan that they have recommended. The group that the city is working with has recommended that you accept. Same kind of thing, you know, they have that cash fund, and, you know, it's going to be divided up, and in the end, I assume we'll get or realize some funds, but, you know, it's basically we're in, and, you know, we just have to keep going with this situation and with the other governments we're included with until we get to the end and there's a final distribution. So y'all need to basically accept the recommendation from Jamie Zardi, which is our attorney in the case.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Do you have any public comment?
No, Vice Mayor.
Okay.
Sorry. Hi, Marcia, I just wanted to clarify that when these funds are distributed, these funds are going to the county for distribution to the city. How is the determination made as to what county gets, what city gets what? Do you know that yet?
No, I don't, but I can ask Skip that question and I'll get it back to all of you. I don't know that. I think it was something that was when this whole thing started, there was an agreement with regards to how all the funds would be shared, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. Do you know if there are any caveats as to how the funds are used?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't know how long this will continue either.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I could not remember. Thank you.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Marsha, is this the same? I remember a year or two back, we became partners or members with a group.
Yes.
And we had to pay to be members of that group, right?
This is still part of the same ongoing opioid legislation and the class action suit, which has quite a few governments that are involved.
So my question goes back to Commissioner McCool. Why would it go to the county? Wouldn't it come directly to the city if we are members?
Yeah. And I don't know that, but I'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, we need a motion.
Madam Vice Mayor, I move to accept, which is consistent with the recommendation in the letter from Jamie Sweardsey, our attorney in the case. The acting city manager has the authority to correct scrivener's errors and the like.
Second.
We have a first by Commissioner McCool, a second by Commissioner Villa-Vasquez. May we vote? Do I need to offer public comment? We already did, right? You said none? Okay. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. We're going to have our public forum. Just let everybody know you do have 4 minutes to speak.
Joel Dawson, and then Mark Masterson. Joel Dawson, please.
Good evening. My name is Joel. I own and operate Brothers Anonymous Barbecue. I'm speaking on behalf of the food truck that was mentioned last Monday. So questions I want to make clear for you guys that every food truck is a mobile restaurant, so we have to follow the same guidelines as a restaurant will. As far as the DPPR, we are required to have a food handling license. So a lot of talk was about the foodborne illness. We have to make sure we are in code and regulation, even to get our license from DPPR, from the health department, saying that we have a food handling certificate. Every owner on a food truck has to have a food handler's license to ensure the safety of food, sanitation, and proper procedures are being done with handling food. Another thing that I take with my food truck, I'm a retired Marine, so each and every time I make a meal on a food truck, I have what they call a dead man's plate. Basically what that is everything that I cook on my food truck, I wrap it and I keep it in my freezer for 48 to 72 hours. So it ensures that anybody has gotten sick from my food truck, I know exactly where it came from the date. I marked the date and time that that food was actually prepared. Also, foodborne illness is a very, very big deal, so we want to ensure. I also host a lot of events here in the city, and one of the things I do with these events is to build the morale here for the community, so that way they can come out, especially during these troubling times. I'm trying to bring some light to the city, and I'm trying to keep it here, right here in the city. I'm from Orlando, Florida, from Pine Hills, but I moved here to Deltona because I was able to be retired from the Marine Corps, come here, bring my young kids here, and raise a family, versus Orlando from Pine Hills, Crime Hills, I like to call it. But I moved here to Deltona because I'm able to be a businessman, provide morale, and be a leader here in this community when it comes to the food truck scene that bring people together. I have met so many wonderful people here on the panel here that came to my events, and it's all about having a good time. It's about fellowship, meeting your neighbor, just knowing like, hey, I need your help with something. That what happens at these networking events at food trucks. I bring other food trucks here to the city so that way they can experience a different culture, different types of food, and it brings different people out, brings family out. If you guys have came to, I know some of you guys have already came to my events, you see families come out there with the kids and the strollers. They sit out there, they listen to the music, and they have a good time. I'm all about following the rules. I'm a Marine, I'm a retired Marine. I understand the rules have to be in place. So all I'm asking is give me the rules, give me the play, give me the diagram so I can follow that diagram. So each and every time I go to Parks and Recreation and I fill out a special permit, because I have done many of them, and I got a lot of pushback. I'm just trying to do the right thing, bring morale here in the city of Deltona, keep the people here at Deltona to have a good time and have a good light. That's all I want to say. I want to say thank you for your time, and please take my comments in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Masterson, please.
Hi, I'm Mark Masterson, 1242 East Lombardi Drive. I just have a couple questions about, I think it's the Firefighters Memorial Park on Lombardi. I know they've been doing a lot of work down there. I'm just kind of curious of when it might be complete. I don't keep up to date on a lot of that. I have to go down there a lot because it's a little bit down from my house and throw the basketball around. So the court there has been dismantled. I'm just wondering approximately when that's going to be done. I know they've done a lot for the children that are there to make the little rides and stuff real nice and everything. But I was just curious to see how long it'll be, probably till that might be done. I guess I have to address that to Park and Recs, I guess. I'm just kind of curious. I didn't see anything posted there or nothing like that. I didn't know if that was supposed to be done like that or if that's something I just have to ask about.
We're not able to go back and forth in discussion, but I believe Mr. Peters will be able to.
If I may suggest, if you would give your name and phone number and address to the clerk's office, we'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay. That's all I really need. I've been out of the loop here for a while, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joshua Wiley.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm the owner of Fat Boy Gourmet Potatoes, another local food truck in the area. I didn't make last week, so I'm not quite sure where everything stands with the ordinance that I've been hearing about passing. I do know that probably about a month or two ago, there was an event where code enforcement came down and tried to shut down a food truck night that we do first Fridays for the community, and basically came down there like, pretty down hard on everybody, and for everything that's going on in the community right now, I think that this is something good for everybody as long as all the food trucks are kept in compliance with what the city of Deltona is asking. I know that Mr. Dawson hosts a lot of events, and he's done well with keeping everybody and keeping the things in compliance. I know that, I try to do events here and there with a couple other food trucks. If they ask for us to be 10 feet apart, we keep them 10 feet apart. We keep fire inspections. They passed a new law saying that, or they told us that they were going to pass a law saying we had to be LP gas certification. We got that done, you know what I mean? And everybody's doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we're getting different size of stores from different things. We can't have more than 2 food trucks at a location without a permit. Sometimes we want 3 food trucks, but it might not be a special event. We might just be at the church and, 3 of us might be out there at the same time, or it might be 2 trucks and a lemonade stand. Well, they're saying we have to have a permit for that, and has to be 90 days, which that's it's crazy because we don't know if on a Friday night of our event, especially now with COVID, we might be scheduled to be at an office and they might cancel it because of the COVID scare. So they might say, hey, can we go to the church and set up together? And it might be 3 of us. Now they're saying we're not allowed and we'll be held accountable, or fined, or our business fined for not having a permit for 3 vendors. I just want to see what we could come together with and work together on getting it where it's not so complicated. I'm sure we can all attest to there's more things we could be worried about than 3 or 4 food trucks sitting in the parking lot selling food, you know what I mean, as long as we're following the rules that you guys ask of us. That's my biggest concern, just making sure that the community in Deltona can still, have fun, come out, take their hats off and enjoy what we have to offer for everybody. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, that closes public comments.
That's it? Okay. We're going to go to consent. Comments on our consent items. There's actually 3 items.
Madam Vice Mayor, can I, Ron and I are working on the food truck ordinance that we have not completed yet, and we'll be coming back to you. So if I could ask, if the folks that are concerned about that, if you will get your phone number, or email address to Ron, who's sitting over there, then we'd be happy to talk to any of you or keep you in the loop with regards to what we're doing. Okay, so that way everybody knows what's going on and nobody's stressing over it, including me. So anyway, if you would do that, we'd be happy to try and accommodate everyone.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. I was going to actually address that as well at the end. What happened last week was actually a workshop. So nothing was passed. I know there's been some rumors on Facebook and Instagram and all the way out there. Nothing was passed last week. That was a workshop we had just to discuss it. And as the city manager said, she's trying to pull together to make it fair from anyone. It's not just, we want to make it safe as well. So just understand, if you can, the city clerk is over here, leave your information so the mayor or the city attorney can reach out to you and, get your input on this item as well before it is presented to the commission. Okay? Okay, thank you. Item 11, again, is the consent agenda. We currently have 3 items on the consent. Briefly, we have the determination by the City Commission to allow an on-site advanced wastewater treatment plant and disposal system in lieu of a central sewer connection. Item B is request approval of the task authorization with Tetra Tech. And item C is request to transfer $250,000 from reserves to code compliance. Do we have anybody who wanted to speak regarding consent?
Actually, I'd like to pull consent agenda item C.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh, there you go. Commissioner Ramos?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. That being said, if there's no other pulling, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda item A and B.
Second.
Okay, we have approval of item A and B by Commissioner Ramos, second by Commissioner King. Do we have anybody who went in the public? Are we not allowing them?
No, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. All right, let's vote on item A and B. You guys missing somebody? Dana? Commissioner McCool? Okay. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we're polling item C. Commissioner Sosa?
Yes, I have some concerns with item C, especially when we get towards the third paragraph, where the contractor's invoices will need to be paid up front before the city can recoup costs through tax liens. I don't have the issue with the tax liens. However, to recap the cost of the abatement, the city has the ability to levy non-ad valorem tax assessments on properties, which will eventually appear on the tax bill of the property. That would be the next fiscal year, correct? Okay, see, my problem with that, we don't currently do that right now. Do you?
It's.
Can you turn your mic on?
I hear you, Marcia. It's been about 2 or 3 years since Volusia County. A lot of counties had done it, and then Volusia County did it. So what they did was there's very strict requirements of how we go about this, and we are allowed to accumulate. You have to have a minimum of $1,500, and they, like say, any right now would go for, in 2022, they would come forward. We have to put a resolution, and you have to hold.
Excuse me 1 second. Can we please keep the chatter down out there? Thank you.
We have to go to public hearing. The folks that are involved, that would affect them, they are noticed. They have the right to come and appear in front of you and to explain, or they also during that time have the ability to pay it. Or if they had come into compliance, it wouldn't have happened. The difficulty that we have is these are basically for, we've had a couple where we have life safety issues. We have one that has rats in the neighborhood. There's those types of things where we have tried to come up with a solution to deal with something quicker. And the difficulty we have is that oftentimes liens, we have had a couple where there have been folks just, you know, if they're homesteaded, we can't foreclose. We had a couple, one had 300,000 in liens and another had 150,000 in liens. So it's basically, I'm never gonna pay it when I die, you know, my heirs can handle it or whatever, and that's basically what has happened. But meanwhile, we don't get compliance. I mean, nobody is interested in looking and to punish anybody. It's not punitive, it's just, you are in a neighborhood, you're being asked to comply. You know, we have a situation with someone who's hoarding, and all the stuff they're hoarding is attracting, you know, rats. We have another one that we've just been engaged in. It was a lot. They were going to develop the property, they wrecked the sidewalk, screwed up the drainage swale and everything, and then chose not to. Well, we've got a safety hazard there. Anybody can trip and fall on the sidewalk, or it will flood, and it will affect that whole neighborhood. Plus, we're on the hook for slip and falls also from the liability side. So that's another one where we're pursuing abatement in order to go and fix it. And, you know, meanwhile notifying, you know, the lot owner and stuff. So this is really just, you know, it's kind of like, you know, we're dinged either way we go. I mean, it's, you know, you're not acting fast enough. Oh, you know, that's not right. You know, so you're trying to balance those two things. So we're looking at abatements where we have those kinds of situations. Now with the landlord stuff that's going to be coming to you guys in the next month or so. In that situation, they aren't homesteaded. So, you know, if we get liens on a landlord type of property, we can foreclose. I just have recently, we haven't done foreclosures in a long time. We just recently filed a foreclosure. So we're trying to pursue all the avenues to encourage people to just fix their stuff and comply. It's not, there's no attempt to be punitive. So I want you to understand that those folks will always have a continuing opportunity to fix or pay back what the city had to pay in order to create an unsafe situation. And ultimately, it's your decision whether or not you have to vote to put that on the non-ad valorem tax roll. So there's plenty of notice, there's plenty of opportunity, but this is being used in Volusia County by a lot of the governments because there is that feeling like you can't make me kind of thing. But if you're the neighbor and have rats running from the house next door to you, people want something done. So that's what this is about.
See, my concern is, recently we had an elderly couple, both with medical issues. They couldn't get out to cut their grass. They were notified by code enforcement. The elderly lady called code enforcement, said, hey, my husband just got out of the hospital, I'm just recovering, we can't do it, we can't get it right now. She asked for an extension. She was said no. So my thing is, I want to protect the folks right now because they can't get out and cut their grass if they're elderly and that. And I would hate to see this compounded by a lien on their ad valorem taxes.
Well, and that is not the kind of situation that we're looking at. I mean, we're talking about, and if they had appeared or sent somebody to represent them at the special magistrate, he's very good at what he does. And again, everybody has tried. Like in the hoarder situation, the code enforcement officers have tried to offer waste things to come to the property and get rid of this stuff that's creating the infestation and stuff. I mean, these are our last resorts to try and deal with a dangerous situation or a health and safety issue. So I have not. I've been going to the code, the special magistrate meetings, because we're trying to figure out how we get a handle on all of this, and we're not looking to try and beat up elderly people that have health issues. I mean, this is the real safety problem where, like I said, where we had a sidewalk damaged and drainage swales damaged, and they're not willing to repair them. Well, you know, I mean, we have on the sidewalks, the city has liability, and we know who damaged them and how they damaged them. So that's the kinds of things that we're talking about.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's kind of broad here, though, and that's what I have the issue is, I think. I mean, to me, it seems like almost any process that would go through to where the city would go out and pay, like a contractor to cut a yard or to remove trash, that would be listed in here as well, correct?
Depending on the circumstance, up to, but we cannot move forward unless it exceeds $1,500. So, I mean, if they had to, you know, a couple lawn mowings or something is not going to go. You know, the situation, these two that I'm referring to are going to be like more like $4,000 or $5,000 to fix it. And so, you know, that is, we can't, I mean, we have to find an equitable way to respond to the neighborhood complaints too, and try and work with these homeowners. But we encounter many circumstances where they won't work with the city. And if we have a health and safety issue, you know, I mean, that's all we're trying to do. And I don't know, John, do you want to, I think.
I think the most important thing is this is another item in the toolbox, and as Marcia said, This is that last resort. These are people that we have tried every conceivable way to achieve compliance, and that we're at a point where it is a safety hazard or a liability problem. You know, for instance, if you have a vacant house that's in dilapidated shape, and the kids in the neighborhood start hanging out there, that can be a safety hazard. So, as I said, this is just a last resort item, and everybody had their due process rights before we get to this point.
Thank you.
Now, do you, like, say if somebody didn't cut their yard, I'm just going to use that for an example, and you send somebody out, a contractor out, and they charge $60 to cut their yard. Now, will that homeowner only be responsible for the $60 the city paid, or will there be fines and penalties added to that until that $60 is paid?
Mr. Sosa, in the example you gave of the elderly couple that was not able to mow their yard, we had actually begun discussions internally about some of our staff people volunteering to go out there and mow it for them. We have employees here that care a great deal about the community, and I have no doubt that if the situation hadn't been rectified when it was, that we would have gone the unusual route of having people volunteer to go mow it for them. You know, theirs was an unusual situation. Our hearts go out to them. You know, they certainly would not have fallen into this type of program. First of all, the dollar amount would never have gotten there. But you know, we deal with a lot of difficult cases. We deal with gut-wrenching cases because of people's personal situation. And I think we do a very admirable job under the leadership of Mr. O'Grady and Richard Lovett and Mark Gibson, and trying to work with people that are in dire straits. So I just think the example of the elderly couple is a poor example with regard to this discussion.
You did good, Commissioner Sosa. Okay, Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think after the explanation and understanding that this is somewhat of an extreme case situation, but I also believe we need to have some type of boundaries so that the city would be able to recover anything. So at that point in time, I hereby direct the acting city manager to allocate $250,000 for code compliance abatement purposes from the city reserve fund as part of budget year 2021-2022. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of scrivener's errors and the like.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, were you on the board to make a motion? Oh, you took it. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. All right, we have a first by Commissioner Ramos, second by Commissioner Villa-Vasquez. Do we have anybody who has any public comment on this now? Nobody else? Okay, thank you. May we vote? Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Do we have any special commission reports or requests? Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to bring a report on the TPO, Transportation Planning Organization. If you're aware, the executive director had resigned, but we are looking for an executive director to replace that. Just want to keep everybody up to date. As part of the executive committee, I'm also part of the search committee. So we're just moving forward with the TPO. Just wanted everyone to realize, if you read the article, yes, but currently we have our interim executive director, Colleen, who's been with the agency for a few years, and definitely we're still in good hands. So just want to give an update on the TPO. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramos, and thank you for serving on the board. Anybody else? Okay. We're going to move on to city attorney comments. Marsha, where are you going? Okay. I waited. I was like a waitress. I was waiting on you to move. City manager.
No comments, other than I would just like to note that we did put a policy in place last week to any employees that have been vaccinated or vaccinated before December 31st, we will provide 2 days of vacation to encourage vaccination. We have a planned vaccination on Friday morning here in the commission chamber for the employees. I just got the news today that apparently you cannot get Johnson & Johnson vaccines in Florida right now. So we will be doing the first shot of the Moderna dual shots. So Friday morning to our employees, we have the vaccines available.
Thank you. Okay, City Commission comments. Do we want to go into the order of district? Let's start with District 1.
Well, I was going to pass, but our next meeting is a workshop, and we won't have commissioner comments, so I better make a comment now. I just wanted to encourage everybody to come out. 2 Saturdays from now is the country night at the center. I'm excited because the featured artist that evening happens to be a friend of mine. He is a Army paratrooper veteran. He has been writing music since he was 12 years old. He's written #1 hits for people like Randy Travis and the Oak Ridge Boys and many other top country music stars. I'm not going to steal his thunder because he'll probably tell a story and play a song that's an incredible song and story. The name of that song is Red, White, and Blue. So come out. His name is, I didn't tell you what his name is. His name is Rocky Lynn. Rocky Lynn. And he'll be in concert on Country Night at the Center on August the 28th. Concert starts, doors open at 7, concert starts at 8. So come on out. I will be there.
Yeehaw.
Thank you.
District
Yeehaw.
3.
Sorry, I was waiting for District 2. So I just want to ask the city manager if he can give me an update on the CRA project, please.
The CRA area, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
We have several things coming before you here in the not too distant future. The first one is a task authorization for the design of the sewer lines along Deltona Boulevard, more on the enterprise side, and for the area on Saxon. Part of that task authorization is the inclusion of a commercial real estate broker. The purpose of that is, if we have talked about before, when we are looking at creating commercial properties, there are 3 factors. Is it properly zoned? Is it the correct size? And does it have utilities? One of the problems that we have along Saxon and along parts of Deltona Boulevard are inadequately sized lots to support commercial development. So what we're looking at is how we can consolidate properties to create more commercial opportunity, especially along Saxon. And so the broker will be involved to assist in where's the best place to put the sewer to encourage that future commercial growth. The next item is the benches. We have put out a RFP for benches throughout the city. As you know, Waverly right now has a significant number of uncovered benches throughout the city, and those have advertisement. They are not ADA compliant. I would say 99% are not. And so it had been a long-standing problem, so we're trying to address that. But as part of that will be the covered benches along Deltona Boulevard. We have heard from Duke. They are finalizing the plan to upgrade the street lights along that corridor, especially from Normandy into Deltona Boulevard. If you all remember, we had a lady that was killed at the intersection of Normandy and Saxon. That has been identified as an area that really needs to be upgraded in terms of lighting, as well as other areas of Saxon along Normandy and then onto Deltona Boulevard. So we will have a proposal back to you all soon to authorize that work. Previously, you all approved the embedded light project for the what I call high-intensity LED lights in the pavement for when people are crossing the road. There's a couple of them in that contract on Deltona Boulevard. That is in process. We have to work with the DOT on some of the paperwork, but that will be starting here shortly. The other thing going on in Deltona Boulevard in Pacific has been a major code enforcement week. We had about 77 violations that were noted in the corridor, and I have to compliment our business owners in that area. They have really stepped up. I'm sure you all have seen the former gas station at the corner of Deltona Boulevard and Enterprise. They actually tore that structure down to make it a more viable project for development. Other areas, right across the street is a church. They have come in compliance. They did a significant amount of work to do that. And we are working with them on some interior modifications that will bring them up to code to where they can start having assemblies like they want in that building. So all down the corridor, we are seeing compliance. As you drive down there, you're seeing much improved visuals going down the road. So we're really proud of the work and the effort we're getting. We need to focus on bringing forth some sidewalks. As I indicated to you earlier, we have a private road that most people think is public, starting at the Waffle House, across Deltona Boulevard, and out to Doyle. That's Welcome Way Road. It's actually a private road. And a significant amount of public traffic that uses it. We've had some problems with sidewalk maintenance and things of the like. So we are trying desperately to work with the adjacent property owners to transfer that right away to the public as opposed to being private, so that the city can take it over and provide proper maintenance. In the area of the motel, we have identified a serious problem with the sidewalks in that area. So we will be putting internally a plan together to upgrade that to provide better pedestrian traffic for people staying at the hotel who may want to go to the plaza right beside it or down to Racetrack or McDonald's or Waffle House, what have you. So those are the things that we're working on. We're making very good progress. We should be coming back to the commission probably around October for another CRA update. I generally like to keep them about 6 months apart. And hopefully by then we will be bringing forward some, certainly the task authorization for the engineer should be the first meeting in September. So we're moving forward, we're making progress.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. And I want to apologize. They should have done this under the commissioner's request. But I know that we have handled 1 or 2 inquiries through email of residents asking what is going on Saxon Boulevard and Deltona Boulevard. And I know that I have forwarded that to you and you have responded to them. But so that everybody else at home who's watching the meeting today understand what is going on, can you please explain it to us here? The wiring on Saxon Boulevard, I think it's for AT&T. Am I?
Ron can answer that. He did the research on it.
Oh, okay. Ron?
Yes, Madam Commissioner. That is fiber optic lines that they're putting in. I know that I was told by the county and most of this work is being done on county right-of-ways. And I know the county told me that AT&T is doing the work, like on Providence Boulevard here.
Thank you, because we have, I mean, at least myself, I don't know about the other commissioners, but have been receiving a lot of inquiries as to what's all that digging and all those wires that are being put down. So thank you so much.
Lots of wires.
Right. With the gentleman that came up before to question about Lombardi Park, I just want to say to those at home that we did bring this up in the last meeting. And I think that your answer, Mr. Peters, was that we are waiting for parts that to come in, and that's the reason why it's taking so long to finish it up. Am I correct?
You are correct, ma'am. I think we all have seen the impact COVID has had on supplies. We're having issues right now with the pipe needed for the river withdrawal project and a number of other areas, so it is not unusual, but yes, it's a parts supply problem.
Thank you.
District 4.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, Honorable Madam Vice Mayor. I want a second country night at the, coming up at the center. We have a beautiful place, and there's some good times to be had there, so if you can, please come out. I'd also like to invite you all out to a budget workshop or town hall that I will be holding on Thursday, August 26th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. right upstairs. And what is a budget town hall, you ask? Well, I really would like to hear from residents. We're going to have the budget put up on the board and go down and talk about what is important to you and what's not, so that as we enter budget season, it's fresh, because I really want to know from my constituency, and not just my district, but my constituency, what you think. I would like input, because that's how we build a better city together. Second of all, I would like to say that I'm really, really, really excited, and I'm firing a shot across the bow, that as we move forward on our social services with social issues that we have and working to better our city for everyone, especially our disenfranchised, that I'm going to be calling this year and into 2022, be calling upon our developers who profit greatly from our community to get involved on this level as we move forward, trying to establish help with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, mental health issues, and as we move deeper into social services. We have a couple of our nonprofits that really step up, but we're growing. The developers are enjoying the fruits of our growth, and with that, they can get their sleeves rolled up, contribute some money, because as I said, I know that they've profited greatly off of our beautiful community, and they want to see it strong and prosperous also. So I'm excited about, getting with them and how they can contribute back into the community. So if you are a developer in Deltona, I would like you to get the smiling face in your head, because I will be talking to you about, things in the upcoming future, and would like to thank you for putting that in my head about us working together and being really great partners, and I'm looking forward to that. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Five-Ramos.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Yes, just a few things. Before I forget, I know we've been talking about the country night. So yes, that is August 28th. Doors open at 7. And my understanding is you could also purchase tickets at the center. So that's important to know. Sometimes people don't want to get online or whatnot, but you can definitely get your tickets at the center, and doors open at 7 for that. As it relates to vaccine, I know Rafael was here and he mentioned a little bit about Halifax and over on the east side, but please be aware that over here on the west side, we do have family health stores that are providing the vaccines. We also have Publix on the area, CVS as well. So there are plenty of places out here on the east side that you can also, on the west side, that you can participate. Talking about family health stores and talking about the CRA, our Family Health Stores Health Center is open. I think that's going to bring a lot of traffic and good vibe there to the area. We had a soft community opening about 2 weeks ago, but the doors open, I believe, as of this morning, and we're serving our community. So that's great to know. Deltona TV program also is hosting, I think it's a weekly or monthly event that is going to be hosted by West Volusia Chamber of Commerce. The importance about this is just, again, having conversation about the things that are currently happening and things that will be coming down the pipe as it relates to our business area here in the city. We just had our first taping this week, and we had Adrian from SCORE participate, and we had a great conversation about Saxon Boulevard and some of the challenges that we have about businesses, where we talk about why don't we have businesses here? Well, one of the main courses is because of SCORE. So again, it's just having those conversations, not scaring people, but having conversations about the reality of why is it and what are some of the challenges that we have here in the city as it relates to business. So again, I think it's just a great opportunity to highlight our city about the current and potential opportunities. I also want to just give out a big shout out to our West Crowd folks. I believe they completed their youth flag football this weekend. Besides and trying to go through the rain here and there, I think it's been very successful. So I think our Parks and Rec deserves good credit. There's a lot of things happening. We've had a successful youth basketball league now for about 2 years, and I think youth flag football is one of the other ones also that's picking up. And as a matter of fact, they were in the hometown news. So again, there's a lot of great things happening here in the city. Thank you and be safe.
That was a long one. Okay. District 6, Commissioner Sosa.
You got my...
Do we need the answer?
Regarding this a little earlier today, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to go into an issue I have with the city. We did have a public records workshop not too long ago, and I'm going to give you my experience with public records. Back at the beginning of the year, I did public records requests for the David database through the state of Florida. I did about 3 or 4 requests. The turnaround time was within 24 hours, and the cost was 0. And some of these requests were simple answers to questions. Some of them, they sent me documents, 20, 30 pages worth of documents, no charge, fast response. On 6/11, I submitted a public records request that came to each of the commissioners. On about 7/15, I finally had to go to Mr. Peters and say, where's my public records request? This is over a month. Nothing. Okay? The clerk's office, I can't blame them for not being responsive because they didn't have all the documentation. They were waiting on the commissioners to respond to them. Okay? Now, in Florida statute, correct me, attorney, responsive public records, correct, does not mean 2 months later. Now, there is time to gather those documents, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but I finally got the bulk of them by 8/10, August 10th, 2 months later. And to be honest, till today, they still weren't complete because everybody up here had an email that should have been in that public records request. It did not come. Talking to Mr. Peters, he printed it out and handed it to me to complete that. Okay. However, I don't know how anybody ever responded to that email because there was no documentation on it. Okay. Now, honestly, my confidence going forward in public records with the city of Deltona is very low. I don't have confidence that I am going to get everything I want or everything I need to do my job. Now, I think that's something Mr. Peters is going to be looking into and addressing. And another issue I have is when I didn't get these records a week ago, I sent Mr. Peters a request to have the clerk forward me all the messages she sent to the commission and to get the responses back. Instead of getting those emails, I got a bill for $14 to get them. I already paid the bill to get the first set of public records, which I didn't get completed. Now I got to pay another bill just to get the bill to see who is sending back the information and who is not. And unfortunately, that bill for the $14, I just can't justify it. I mean, at best, the clerk's office sent out 2 or 3 emails to the commissioners looking for these public records requests. At best, 6 responses went back to the clerk's office. So I don't know how you can come up with $14 to forward me at max 8 emails. So, Mr. Peters, this definitely needs to be addressed, and it's something we really need to look into, because I have a, personally, my confidence level right now is very low, and what I'm going to need and what I get are 2 different things. And I'm going to just leave it at that, except for I do want to say thank you to all the people that came out to my last town hall last Thursday. I appreciate everybody coming out, asking questions, and participating. Thank you.
Okay. And I have nothing. With that, meeting's adjourned.